we'll have District 5, as you all probably know right now, and then followed by the District 1 Supervisor Forum following this one. So I'm going to make a few remarks, then I'm going to lay out the kind of format and what we're going to expect for this evening. So thank you for joining us. My name is Todd Jones. I'm the President and CEO of the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce, and I'll be the moderator this evening. Tonight you will hear from the candidates for District 5, followed by District 1. Last year, the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce launched our Government Affairs Committee, or the GAC, to help guide the Chamber's advocacy work and evaluate issues and candidates that impact the business community. 4 years ago, the Chamber dissolved its Political Action Committee. For many years, that PAC financially supported candidates running for office at the local, state, and federal levels through voluntary contributions outside of membership dues. The Chamber no longer operates a PAC, but we have not stepped away from advocacy. In fact, we are leaning into it more than ever. The Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce is a 501c6. That is a very important designation, and it means that we are organized to promote the common business interests of our members, improve the business climate, support economic growth, and represent the shared interest of the business community. This is also reflected in our mission statement. The Reading Chamber of Commerce is an association of businesses organized to improve the business climate and contribute to the economic health of its membership in the Greater Reading area. Running a business in California is challenging. Employers face high costs, complex regulations, workforce challenges, insurance issues, and constantly to adapt. That is why local leadership matters. At the Reading Chamber, our goal is simple. We want to make Reading the best place in California to do business. This is not a race to the bottom. It means creating a climate where businesses can succeed, families can thrive, and visitors feel welcome and safe. It means investing in public safety, infrastructure, amenities, workforce development, and the basic conditions that allow the community to prosper. County supervisors make decisions that affect public safety, homelessness, behavioral health, land use, infrastructure, economic development, budgeting, and the delivery of essential services. These issues affect employers, employees, families, neighborhoods, and the long-term direction of Shasta County. That is why tonight matters. Our goal is to help our members and the broader community better understand the candidates running for office. Voters deserve thoughtful answers. They deserve to hear how candidates think, how they prioritize limited resources, how they approach collaboration, and how they understand the connection between county government and the local economy. At the Chamber, we will continue to advocate for policies that strengthen the business climate and contribute to the economic health of the Greater Reading area. That includes public safety, accountable solutions to homelessness, workforce development, economic growth, tourism, and the local government that helps move our community forward. Thank you to the candidates for participating, to our Government Affairs Committee and our board for helping guide this process, and to everyone here tonight for showing up and listening. A healthy community needs an active business community. A strong business climate needs informed leadership, and good leadership starts with an informed electorate. So that is my comments for the night. Before we begin, here are the rules for tonight's forum. And these will be the same rules for both of these forums. Each candidate will have 90 seconds for opening remarks. I use ChatGPT to help me prioritize all the questions, so everyone will have a different starting spot. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to answer each question. I know that may seem short, but I want you to get to the point. After all candidates have answered a question, there will be an opportunity for one 30-second rebuttal from each candidate if necessary. If you don't want to do that, you're welcome to say pass, and it will be in the same order that we start the question with. They got this in an email a week ago, so hopefully this is not a surprise to any of them. Each candidate will then have 90 seconds for closing remarks. Candidates may not use phones during the forum. Candidates may not speak while another candidate is speaking. Please, no comments or applause from the audience so we can keep this evening moving forward. We expect professionalism and respect from everyone participating tonight, and if a candidate does not follow the rules or repeatedly disrupts the forum, they will be asked to leave. Our goal tonight is simple. We want the public to hear the issues, hear the differences, and hear directly from each candidate in a fair and respectful setting. So with that, any questions from the candidates? All clear? All right. Well, we are going to start with our opening seconds. A reminder, Taylor right here and Jocelyn are going to be our timers. So they have 10-second timers. One of them will do the questions. One of them will time the rebuttal time for 30 seconds. You'll hear their alarm, and then Tim over here will fade out the microphones. If you exceed that time, your microphone will be cut off. So with that, we're going to start with our opening statements. And again, these were all randomly generated for each question. And we are going to start with Mike Gallagher.
Yeah, thank you to all of you for coming out tonight. It's a real honor to be here before you. I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm a dad, and I'm a grandpa. And as an avid outdoorsman, I really love this rural way of life that Shasta County affords us. I've lived in Northern California my whole life, the last 40 years of it right here in Shasta County. It's a little nerve-wracking up here, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a big group, so just full disclosure there. Yeah, so, I've been an employee, I've been a business owner. We own commercial and residential real estate, and for the last 11 years, I've served the great city of Anderson. First 4 years as a planning commissioner, and then 7 years on the city council. I want y'all to know tonight that my faith is the foundation of my life and leadership since 1998. It's what anchors my commitment to serve all of District 5 and Shasta County with humility, with truth, with integrity, and with courage. And yes, folks, sometimes it actually takes courage to do this job.
Thank you, Mike. Next one is Supervisor Kellstrom.
All right, yeah, welcome here, everybody. I was born and raised right here in good old River City. Went to the same high school my parents went to, Enterprise High School. Lived here pretty much my whole life. I decided to throw my hat in politics about 6 years ago because, quite frankly, I was sick of politicians. So I was sick of people going there and being there for 16 years, 20 years, 12 years. And one of the things I ran on was term limits, and I'm happy to say that in my first year I got that on the ballot, as you see, and you all passed it by about 77%. So apparently you were sick of politicians too. So now I have 1 term left to go, and I've started a lot of good work. I've got a lot of good things done, and I want to continue to do some of that work. I really went after public works and resource management. We have a new resource manager. We've changed some of our practices there. I'm very proud of the hard work that team has done. They've really tried to go in the direction that I was hoping they would go in. And again, I couldn't be prouder of that team. It's much easier to build something here. It's actually even a little bit cheaper. We got rid of impact fees here a couple years ago too. So I want to continue that work. I have some other big projects in the works right now that I'm working on that I need to continue to work on to get that done also. So I appreciate your vote, and thanks again for you all coming here.
Mr. Oxley, you're up.
My name is Gary Oxley, and I am the outsider in this race. I was born in Sacramento. I moved up here in 1995 with my 3 sons. Wendy and I have been together now since 2017, and I'm a retired nurse of 32 years. I did most of my career in the ER and ICU, and I've also been co-owners with Wendy of Rejuvenate Pools and Spas. We unfortunately had to close our business in 2025 due to economic conditions and the tariffs that were being placed on imported goods. I love Shasta County, and I love the citizens that are here. Reading has changed a lot since I've been here. I'm running on three foundations, and that's, I believe that we need to put God first back in our lives, that we need to strengthen our families, and that our families come first before government. And I also feel that we need to have somebody to defend our inalienable rights that were given to us by our Creator, hence the need to acknowledge God in our lives. Politics is really messy, you guys, and this is not my first go-around. 10 years ago, I ran for U.S. Congress against Doug LaMalfa. Tonight, hopefully, we can be respectful for each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. You will have the opportunity to be the first one to answer our first question. And again, these are 60-second answers. Where do you see opportunities for greater collaboration between the county and the 3 cities in Shasta County, Reading, Anderson, and the city of Shasta Lake?
Well, I think the first thing that we have to do is there has to be a lot of open communication and a willingness to work together. We don't live in silos. We have to work together. And to me, Shasta County, I think, has a great potential to do a lot of things. And one of the things that I would love to see done is I would love to see us raise more of our own cattle, more of our own farms, dairies, and bring that food that we can bring back here, grow it, and sell it right here in Shasta County. So I like the Reading Marketplace concept. The gentleman who developed that is, we know him from softball with our daughters. I would like to see a collaboration of our counties working together to produce more of our own food so that we can get more of that food on the table here. It will create jobs and hopefully provide more confidence in our food system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Next is Supervisor Kellstrom. Would you like me to, let me know if you guys ever need me to repeat the question.
Okay. I think we already do a lot of collaboration with all three cities. We just collaborated with Reading actually on the land deal above Jolly Green Giant Flea Market off of 273 for a larger farm for our and a alternative custody program. It's not real popular with the neighbors in there right now, so I won't say too much more about that. But we did collaborate with the city of Reading there. We just helped out the city of Anderson. They were running short on some funds, so we fronted them $1.5 million of tax revenue for property tax revenue. And City of Shasta Lake, I just talked to Jessica Lugo the other day. There was a project that was going to go in their city that they did not like. So, they ended up, they didn't get the funding for the project, so the project was going to go away. But we did work with them and they weren't happy about it. So I think we already do collaborate quite a bit with all three of those cities, and I look forward to continuing that collaboration.
Thank you, Supervisor. Mr. Gallagher.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm really grateful that when the city of Anderson was running a little short on cash, because we did 4 major projects in our city in about 18 months, our cash flow got low and the county was very helpful and were cheering us on and did front our tax dollars to us. And so the city of Anderson was very grateful because we didn't have to lay anybody off, we didn't have to ask anybody to not do their work. So I think the collaboration is there. I think the city of Anderson has worked well with the city of Shasta Lake in the past. We're big fans of what they're doing up there as well. And so I think the communication is key, and finding, I know that our city managers meet on a regular basis, and that's really the impetus for that to continue. So yeah, I think we're in good shape there, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Any follow-ups to this question? Next question, we'll start with you, Mr. Gallagher. What specific initiatives would you support to attract and retain new businesses in Shasta County?
Well, I think I'm going to not answer that question directly, but I think what we have to do at the county level is get our own house in order. I think it's really important that I'm a city guy, the county create a workforce environment that's conducive to keeping employees employed. I think, folks want stability, they want to see a business environment at the county level that is beneficial, and the county needs to set the example there, right? Folks, our county leaders need to set the example by creating a place where folks want to be, want to do the work, and we need that. So I think specifically, that's what I think we need to do, is set the example.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Oxley.
Again, I think we need to look at our families. How can we strengthen our families? They have to be employed. And anybody that wants to be employed, self-employed, should be able to have the opportunities to do that. I've met one young family here in town that's trying to start up an Airbnb. And the amount of red tape, the amount of money that's being required by the county for them to even just get off the ground is just unbelievable. So I still think, I know Supervisor Kellstrom has done a lot to try to help decrease those impact fees, but I think we need to do more. We need to promote families and helping them to get more self-employed if they want to, and I really do. Since the 1950s to today, we're only raising half the amount of cattle that we were before. We have an opportunity here to produce a lot more ranching than we're currently doing, and I think that could be really beneficial
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, well, and I think I've already started some of that work. I mean, again, we removed the impact fee, so what some people don't know what an impact fee is, for instance, if you're building a house, the same goes with a business, you pay for your grading permits, you pay for your building permits, you pay for your electrical permits, you pay for all the permits, and once you get everything done and you pay the contractor, you get your building built, say it was a house or a business, then the county will come back and say, okay, well, now we need some impact fees on top of this, and because this new structure is going to impact fire, it's going to impact police, it's going to impact the library, it's going to impact all these different agencies. Usually about $9,000 for a normal home. So we removed those, and because to us it was an illegal tax. We've made cut some regulations. We've gotten rid of some regulations out there. I'm continuing to look at more regulations that we can cut. 99% of the problem is that our state issues. I mean, there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of state regulations, but we'll cut all the county ones we can. Looks like my time's up. I could have went on all day.
That's why I have time with the Supervisor. Supervisor Kellstrom, do we actually any rebuttal comments for this one? We'll start in the same order. So yeah, Mr. Gallagher, you have the first opportunity.
Yeah, folks, the problem with cutting impact fees is it does fund fire, it funds the library, it funds police, it funds roads, and it funds all kinds of other things. It's pretty reckless to cut that source of revenue to those specific sources that need it. So I think it's a dangerous thing, and it's going to affect our kids and our grandkids down the road.
Mr. Oxley?
I think there's always a balance, and it's always going to be a struggle, and we have to have our priorities. To me, the family is the priority. The government should not be the priority. We need to strengthen our families and get them more employed. So I know I keep saying that, but that's the honest truth. If our families don't work, the government's not going to get any money. So that's how I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Supervisor Kellstrom, maybe 30 more seconds.
Perfect. Yeah, so obviously my opponent has never met a tax he didn't like, so when we got rid of the impact fees, about a week later, a case went to the Supreme Court from El Dorado County, and the Supreme Court deemed that impact fees an illegal tax. They didn't go through the legislature, they weren't voted on by the people, they were just imposed by bureaucrats at the end of a project. So again, the county is still running in the black, we're in good shape, and I'm more than happy to say that we cut impact fees and we'll continue to not have impact fees.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. The question 3, Supervisor Kellstrom, you will start with this one. In your opinion, what are the top 3 fiduciary responsibilities of a Shasta County Supervisor?
Well, I mean, we obviously have to fund all the departments, and we have to keep a balanced budget. I'm very happy to say that here in June we'll be getting our budget, and anybody that knows me in the county building knows that I go through every single line in that budget. I go line by line, page by page. I'll be pretty tan by the end of June because I literally sit outside in a lounge chair with a marker and a pen or a little pad of papers, and I sit there and go through every single line in there to see where our money's going. And I'm very proud to say that we do have a balanced budget. We have a fiscal hawk as a CEO. He was elected treasurer. We have Nola Short, who is just the greatest audit controller ever. And thank God I saw her sign go up because I heard rumors she might not run again, but she's going to be there another 4 years. We have people like Jen Rossi and Aaron Bertain that are just absolutely amazing. They don't let us spend a single dime that we can't spend, that we're not able to spend. So they keep everything in line, and as do the supervisors that go over that. 10 seconds again. Okay, I'll stop there.
Thank you, Supervisor. Mr. Gallagher. Yes, in your opinion, what are the top 3 fiduciary responsibilities of a Shasta County Supervisor?
Yeah, definitely overseeing the budgets, number 1. I think there's some stiff headwinds ahead of us at the county level, and I would encourage all of you to show up June 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'll be there. I hope to see you all there. Yeah, I think workforce development is really important to creating a workforce environment where people actually want to be. It starts at the top, right? It's a leadership responsibility, and I think that's critical for having a business. On one level, the county is a business, and we need really good employees, happy to be there doing their work. Thirdly is to support the other electeds in our county. The Board of Supervisors holds the purse strings, and if we want really good outcomes for our other electeds, then we need to be working collaboratively with them, making sure they have the resources they need.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Oxley.
It's important to have a balanced budget. If we don't know, but if we don't know where our money's coming from, then it makes it difficult to balance the budget. We have a lot of nonprofit organizations in here in our town that do a lot of good. They have good goals, but their outcomes, the outcomes that we're getting from these nonprofit organizations, end up being some of the same. And that when you look at our adverse childhood experiences, suicide, all of those things have some of the highest rates. So in order to balance the budget, and we need to know where the money's coming. So one of the first things I'd like to do, and I know this has been brought up a lot over the course of the last several years, is we need to do a forensic audit. We need to know where the money's going, and it needs to be done accurately from an outside independent agency. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Supervisor Kellstrom, we have 30 more seconds for this question.
All right, yeah, I will say this. 5 years ago, the budget, by the way, was just rubber stamped. At that point, it was about $600 million. And staff does a ton of work. Staff is very good at getting the work done and trying to bring a balanced budget to the supervisors. But there was very little oversight on that. It was literally, it was brought in, it was almost like it was a consent item. It was brought in, they just approve it and then it'd go. Now, we went to having a whole day of hearings, and now we're up to like 3 or 4 days where we call in every department head, and if we have any questions, we ask them questions.
Thank you, Supervisor. Mr. Gallagher.
Yeah, folks, it's important to know there's audits every cycle. The budgets get audited by an outside source, a third-party article that tells us if we're actually doing the process correctly. And I do agree, we do need to know where the money's coming, where it's going, and that's why it's a supervisor's responsibility to figure that one out. It's a lot of work, and I'm up for the challenge. I've been doing it for 7 years in the Anderson. And, so it's very important.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Oxley? Okay. The next question, we will begin with Mr. Oxley. In times of budgetary uncertainty, what should Shasta County prioritize with its limited resources?
Okay, there is something that many of you business owners may not know, and it's a thing called a personal business property tax exemption of up to $10,000. Currently, the Board of Supervisors has allocated and agreed to only $1,900. So that hurts small businesses. If we gave that $10,000 exemption to small businesses, they would be able to be more profitable, they would be able to spend more money and grow their businesses. Would it hurt the county? It might. But you know what? This goes back to, do we want to have a huge, big government? Or do we want to use our resources to build strong businesses and strong families? So to me, having the priority, the government, is always going to be problematic, because then the people suffer. We may have our budget may be black for the county, but it's not so black for a lot of our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Mr. Gallagher. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
In times of budgetary uncertainty, what should Shasta County prioritize with its limited resources?
Yeah, folks, the number one responsibility of government is public safety and infrastructure. So I'm always going to push first for public safety, which is the sheriff, the DA, probation, getting the resources they need. They're the ones that are tasked with keeping us safe. Infrastructure is also really important, and that includes wastewater treatment plants, freshwater wells, and roads. Our roads are in shambles, as you all know, because you all drove here probably. I don't know, did anybody ride a bicycle? I just show of hands, that didn't happen. So yeah, so we really have to get after that, right? So, oh wait, we have a bike rider in the crowd. So yeah, so that's the number one priority for me. I know we have mental health issues, we've got, social services issues, we've got lots of issues, but the number one, in my estimation, the number one priority is public safety and infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Well, we already do this every year anyways with the budget. I mean, again, we have some great fiscal hawks that are in charge that give us advice and give us the budget. But, we've cut 100 positions in the last 3 years at the county, and these were not positions where somebody got laid off. These were positions that were funded but never filled. So when our CEO that we brought here took over, he's, again, fiscal hawk, he was elected treasurer in Illinois. His first budget, he went through the budget fine-tooth comb, had them remove positions that hadn't been funded, that hadn't been filled for 5 years, but we're still funding those positions through the budget. It kind of almost gave a little bit of a slush fund where, since that position wasn't filled, if there's any money left over, they could move it somewhere else that they could, use that thing. So we got rid of those positions. And then he went through the budget, he had every department head show what it would look like if they had a 5% cut. And it was, it was pretty drastic. So, but it made them also think, this is in dire times, this is what we have to do. Fortunately, because of them, we've never had those dire times.
Thank you, Supervisor. Mr. Oxley, would you like to have an additional 30 seconds?
Can you repeat that question for me?
The question is, in times of budgetary uncertainty, what should Shasta County prioritize with its limited resources?
It's really a comment. I don't know if I have an exact answer for everybody, but if we're in the black, why are our roads so in poor condition? So when we're talking about black, that the government's in the black, why do we have so many deficits? And I'm just going to say it again on roads. Why are our roads so bad if our budget's so good?
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Mr. Gallagher.
Folks, my research showed that it was positions that were only unfilled for 1 to 3 years, and so I don't know where the 5-year mark comes from. Secondly, there should be a massive savings in labor revenue. Sorry, I'm missing the word there. But yeah, we should be in the black in the county because of that alone. That's about $12 million a year.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Supervisor Killstrom.
Yeah, I'll use my 30 seconds to educate Mr. Oxley because Mike and I both sit on the Shasta Regional Transportation Agency Board, which is the go-between between the billions and billions of dollars that you guys pay extra, that $1.50 a gallon gas that we all pay here in California, and the actual road projects. And Gary, they will not give you one single nickel to patch a pothole. Now, if you want bike lanes, I can take out car lanes all day long, and I can get you grant funding to put in bike lanes or roundabouts. They'll fund those projects all day long, but as far as going to the road maintenance, they don't give us a dime. We have very limited road budget, and we use it to the best of our ability.
Thank you, Supervisor Killstrom. Question number 5, we'll start with you, Supervisor. What would you do to support and improve jail capacity and alleviate bottlenecks in the criminal justice system in Shasta County?
Well, currently, the jail does have a floor closed. It's not because of staffing, it's because it's being remodeled. So we took those prisoners and we sent them out, some to Calaveras, and I believe the other ones were Santa Rosa or Sonoma. So we have prisoners out in those jails right now. We're under contract with them. When they get that floor redone, we're going to move prisoners up because they're going to do another floor. Once the jail is back up to capacity, all the floors are open. Since we already have contracts in place with Calaveras and Sonora, I would be looking at those places, Sonoma, I'd be looking at those places to go ahead and house extra prisoners if we needed that extra jail space there. Also, the alternative custody program, the sheriff would really like to expand that a lot. There's a hiccup down there because where we're looking to expand it, there's a lot of neighbors that are not in favor of that. But even just expanding the farm would help alleviate that. We have a lot of people that are just need to do work days that we don't have room in the jail, say a DUI or a misdemeanor that we want them to have a punishment, but we don't have jail bed for them.
Thank you, Supervisor Killstrom. Mr. Oxley.
So the other day I'm on Eureka Way at Walgreens, and we're up at the counter, and this little clerk is telling us how scared she was. Outside the doors, 20 feet away, was a man who was extremely high and looked extremely volatile. Do we need more beds? Yeah, we might need more beds. But in our current facility right now, according to the grand jury, there's an illicit drug problem in there that has not been cleaned up. If we go and put more beds down on 273, we're putting the potential to have more drugs down on 273 in that neighborhood where those folks don't want it. People who are obeying the laws need to come first. If our jails get overcrowded and it's inconveniencing an inmate, so be it.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Mr. Gallagher.
Could you give it to me one more time, Todd?
What's that?
Could you state the question
Yes.
one more time for me?
What would you do to support and improve jail capacity and alleviate bottlenecks in the criminal justice system in Shasta County?
Yeah, folks, I'm a big supporter of our sheriff, and his plan for an alternative custody program is critical to help with the overcrowding. I don't know that that's the whole fix. I think it's really important that we understand that when the Superior Court system built a new courthouse in Reading, they did not build one extra courtroom. So the bottleneck is also not just in the courtroom or in Shasta County law enforcement, it's also in the Superior Court system. We don't have any more capacity to try any more cases than we had with the old building, which frustrates me to no end. Secondly, our DA is struggling to find staff to actually try the cases. So we have a bottleneck there as well. So we need to fund our DA. We need to get them the resources that she needs to do her job. And hopefully, the truth is that bottleneck at the courthouse is a 70-year bottleneck.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, so I did meet with the DA just the other day, and she got her budget down to, she was a little shy of where we needed to go, but we found a way around that, so I think we're going to be fine there. I mean, it's, again, not flush with funds, but I think she's going to have a pretty decent one, and then we were talking about the jail. I think, yeah, I'll just leave it there.
Thank you, Supervisor. Mr. Oxley. Mr. Gallagher.
Yeah, folks, I heard the other day that we have a deputy DA that's living in a mobile home park. Passed the bar exam and can only afford to live in a mobile home park. I don't think the DA has the budget she needs to do the job to hire the folks that she needs to be hiring for Shasta County. So, thanks, Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher, you will get the opportunity to answer this next question first. Would you support a county-wide 0.5% sales tax increase if it can only be used for new jail construction and operations?
Yeah, folks, I would. We passed a half-cent sales tax in Anderson in 2014. It helped fund our parks, and it helped fund our police department. And Anderson, since 2014, rated one of the safest cities in California. Very proud of that, and I pay that every time I go to the grocery store or anywhere else, and I do shop Anderson, and I would recommend you do it as well. Secondly, yes, I voted yes on I believe it was Measure A a number of years ago when that project was coming through. It did not pass, but I really thought that the design of the system and the people involved, it was a huge collaborative effort to build out the existing jail and to create the hub that would actually help rehabilitate those offenders. And so yes, I would be in favor of that. It's a heavy lift though, folks. It's this county struggles when it comes to any more taxes, and I don't blame them.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Well, it really doesn't matter if I support it or not, because it's up to the people to be put on the ballot. It's up to the people to support it. I'm 1/90,000th of a vote on that, so really my vote would make no difference. I mean, obviously as a supervisor in one of our budgets, it certainly would help the county. It would help a lot of public safety. It would possibly help fund and build a new jail. That was a thought that I lost a minute ago. About half a dozen years ago, Fresno built a new jail for $40 million. We were able to set aside during my tenure about 34 to 35 million, hoping to build a jail similar to what Fresno built. But unfortunately, construction costs have gone to the point where that same jail will be about $150 million now. So without a tax increase, we are not going to build a new jail. But again, that's up to the people of Shasta County, whether they want to vote for a tax increase or not. We saw what happened with the city of Reading. It did not go over very well. They tried it once before, and it did not go over very well. So whether I support it or not really wouldn't matter. It'd be up to all you folks.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Mr. Oxley.
I think you all know that I'm going to say no. I will not support a sales tax specifically for the jail. If the sheriff can tell us with 100% certainty that there's no more illicit drugs in there, then maybe I can consider it. So I would not, definitely not support a sales tax. Again, I just want to go back, we do need to do something with our criminals here. There are, a lot of them are from out of the area, so if they're from out of the area, then we need to ship them back to where they originated from. So, this is a real sensitive issue, you guys. Who pays for the jail? It's the family that can't hardly buy milk. So when we're looking at raising taxes, we need to not just consider ourselves and the amount of money that we have in our retirement, but the folks that can barely pay ends meet.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Mr. Gallagher, would you like to have 30 more seconds?
Yeah, as the one accused of never seen the tax I don't like or something like that, that's ridiculous. But folks, it's really important to understand this burden has been laid on the counties, all 58 counties in California, because we closed 14 prisons out of the 15 and they're trying to close the 15th. So we're stuck with the problem. The state put it on us, and it seems to be up to us to have to try to figure it out. So we have to raise the money, we've got to build a jail and deal with the problem.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Supervisor Kellstrom.
I'm good.
Mr. Oxley?
It goes back to accountability. So we're talking about a sheriff who makes $400,000 a year. So that's a good example of why we should have a new sales tax. Because it's funding people, it's funding things, not just the jail itself. We're talking about a budget that's supposed to be in the black, but it doesn't appear from what we're saying here and tonight that we're getting all the things done that need to be done. So no sales tax increase for many things.
I would do a rebuttal now.
Go ahead, Supervisor.
All right. Well, let's address that. Let me educate you again, Gary. So Sheriff Johnson has earned his retirement. He was an officer in Eureka. He was chief of police in Iona. He was chief of police in Anderson. And now he became sheriff. When he became sheriff, he maxed out his retirement. He could not earn any more retirement. It was maxed out. So for him to continue to pay into that system would be a waste of his money and a waste of taxpayers' money, because we have to match his funding, his retirement funds. So he saved us about $500,000. He is collecting a $200,000 retirement, and he's getting paid, we'll give it to sheriff on top of that.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. The next question, Mr. Oxley, will start. What are your top 3 goals as supervisor over the next 4 years?
I want to go back to Sheriff Johnson for a moment. How many of us knew that he retired before we went and elected him? To me, that's honesty. I never knew it. Most people didn't know it, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running. We need people that have honesty and integrity and not hiding things. I'm happy that he has a great retirement plan, but you know, it's about being upfront and honest with your constituents. My top 3 projects are: we need to put God back in our lives, and I'd like to see our national motto above the county insignia in the Board of Chambers. The other thing is, I'd like to get this business personal property tax passed and let the small business owners have more income to run their businesses. And the third one is we need a forensic audit of the Child Protective Services. The amount of the families are not being provided.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, well, public safety, of course, is always number one, and I'm proud to say that in the last 4 years, we have added 13 positions to the sheriff's budget, and the sheriff has about the most integrity of any man that I've ever met. So to say that you need people with integrity is quite a slap in the face of the sheriff, so I resent that remark. But we've also passed the fire ordinance. We've got a grant to hire 2 code enforcement officers for the fire ordinance, so that's the public safety. I want to continue my work with resource management. They made a lot of big changes there that make it more user-friendly, more business-friendly, more homeowner-friendly. And then one of the issues, my main issues that I'm going to work on is a lot of people don't know about this. I don't think my opponents know about it, but there's a risk that we're going to lose North Battle Creek Reservoir and Lake Macomber, which are both in my district, in District 5. So I've been fighting now for 3.5 years, going to a coalition to fight to save those lakes. They're not only good for recreation and environment, but they're good for fire protection, flood control, so it's water storage. So we really need to save those lakes, and I can take the strides to do just that.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Mr. Gallagher.
Public safety and infrastructure. Public safety and infrastructure, number one goal. Secondly, I want real solutions for domestic violence. Our county is above average for the state, and I know that if we work collaboratively, we can come up with a solution that actually lowers those numbers and helps our county get back on track there. Third, stop wasteful spending. No more $40,000 contracts to friends to write reports that staff could have easily researched and written for just the salaries. No more voting yes on giving away precious opioid money to ill-advised and ill-conceived projects. That's the kind of thing that has to stop, folks, and I'm going to fight hard to make sure that those kind of things don't ever happen again.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Oxley, would you like 30 more seconds on this?
Yes. So I just want to reiterate what's happening with Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services are to protect the children and then provide reunification services for these families to get the families back together. That's not happening with a lot of our families. These families have contacted the Board of Supervisors and none of them are helping them. One of the main reasons why I'm running is because of my feeling for being an advocate for our constituents, for the people that can't help themselves.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, I'll address the $40,000 that you just mentioned. So the $40,000 went to a contract. At the time when we started to look into what we wanted to look into the numbers of doctors, according to Dignity Health numbers, we had one doctor for every 527 or 34 residents. We had an oversupply of doctors. I don't think anybody in this room would feel that way. After looking into this and digging into this and getting down into this thing, we found out that we had one doctor for every 3,500 people, almost 7 times the amount. So that 40,000 ended up showing that we are underserved and we're open for grants and open for funding because of that.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Mr. Gallagher. Would you like 30 more seconds? Okay,
I'm good.
Next question, we will start with Supervisor Kellstrom. Do you support Shasta County in offering $10 million to Simpson University for the creation of a new medical school?
I really want a new medical school. There's no question about it. It'd be about $1 billion boom to this local economy. It was done in Pikeville in Kentucky. The population is much smaller than our county there, and it's been a huge boom there. It would bring doctors here, bring residencies here. I think it would bring a ton of money to our economy. The $10 million, it's a tough one for me because I know we don't have an extra $10 million laying around. So I am 100% for funding a medical school, getting a medical school here. If we can't find county funds, I would be more than interested to look at any other place that we possibly could, private ventures, anything. But that medical school would be great for this whole North State area.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Mr. Oxley.
When I moved up here in '95, shortly after I came up here, there was talk about having a medical school brought up here. I totally support it. I think it would be great. Do we have $10 million to support that right now? I don't think we do. Again, I think we need to promote small businesses, you guys. If we're giving away taxpayer money for a medical school, which will provide a lot of jobs in the future, how do we bridge that from today to then? I support it wholeheartedly. I just don't think we can afford $10 million right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Mr. Gallagher.
Yeah, folks, I really struggle with taxpayer dollars going to private industry that would benefit from it. But we do it. We do it at the airport, and we do it in many other areas where our tax dollars subsidize. We do it in transportation. We subsidize a lot of things. I'm very concerned with our budget, and if we were so in the black, it might not be important. You know, we could come up with $10 million in a second. But I'm concerned that we're going to rob Peter to pay Paul to do this. Now, let me be clear. I'm a big fan of Dr. Hall. I think he's a good man. I think he's done great things for Simpson University. But my biggest concern is where that money would be coming from and what we would have to do without. Would we have to do without an alternative custody program? I think that's the question before us.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Supervisor Kellstrom, any comments? Anyone else for the comments on this one? Next question, we will start with Mr. Gallagher. Do you support the current corrections and rehabilitation campus proposal and its proposed location?
Hot topic. Here we go. All right. I support Sheriff Johnson's design. I think it's a good design. I think he has a heart for really actually helping folks that are low-level offenders. He's tried multiple times, and he hasn't quit yet. So thank you, Sheriff Johnson. I'm really struggling with where it's going. I understand why it needs to go there, because there's wastewater right down the street, there's electricity right there, and fresh water, and that cuts a huge expense out of the construction costs. I'm grieved for the neighbors. You know, I've talked to many of them, and it's a real challenge for them, where they put, you know, many of them, there's 90, I think there's 95 homes, and 93 of them, I believe, don't quote me on those numbers, are homeowners who decided to put roots down there. So it's a tough one, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, well, I support Sheriff Johnson 100% too. I certainly support the plan, the project. We have funding for it. It'll be a great project, but of course, it's in my district, and those are my residents, those are my constituents. They're adamantly opposed to it. I know I've talked to a couple of them, and you know, the question is, well, why don't you do it somewhere else? And I said, well, if you can find us 90 acres of land for $1 somewhere else, we will definitely take a hard look at that. But this project is just kind of, I mean, you know, it's going to, and I don't think it's going to affect them nearly as bad as they think it is. I mean, you know, they're going to turn that empty field into a farm. The vast majority of that will be a farm. Will there be an Amity house further down the road? Possibly. Will there be an alternative custody program? Possibly. But the first several years, it's going to be a farm is really what's going to be down there. So again, I support the project. I'm not going to say I necessarily support the location. Anybody else have 90 acres for $1 that laying around that could possibly give us?
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Mr. Oxley.
Buying something cheap doesn't make it right. Nobody likes to have things shoved down their throat. And those residents down there don't deserve to have a facility down there that they don't want. So I do not support the location. Do I support another facility someplace else? Yes, provided that the sheriff can maintain and make sure that there's no illicit drug traffic inside those facilities. It's ironic, ladies and gentlemen, that I find that so many people complain about the jail that we have downtown and how they wish that jail was not there. So now we're just going to build another facility in another location? I just find that very ironic. Can't support the program. I could support it if it was maybe in another location, but not there.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Mr. Gallagher, would you any further comments on this question? 30 seconds.
Yeah, folks, the jail does need to leave downtown Reading. I believe that. They've invested millions and millions of dollars, and they don't want criminals who are gated walking down the streets, and so that's a real concern. And but that location is a real challenge, and so yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Well, I mean, there's never a good place to put anything. There's a juvenile mental health facility going to be put in Anderson City. Anderson didn't want it. The residents of Anderson didn't want it, which we tied contingencies to the money that we were going to give them that they had to accept, or they had to get a letter of support. There was one going to City Chest Lake. They didn't want it. At a solar farm going to Manton. Those residents didn't want that. So, I mean, we had a couple townhouses going on Palo Cedro. They didn't want those. I mean, it's, you know, where is a good spot to put it? So it's easy to say, oh, I support the project, it's just not the place to put it. Well, where is the place to put it?
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Mr. Oxley, any call? The next question will start with you, Mr. Oxley. What can Shasta County do to make our communities more fire resilient?
That is a huge issue. I can't tell you how many people I know that don't have fire insurance. I believe that it takes a lot of collaboration, discussion amongst a lot of group of people at a higher level and maybe even at the supervisor level, because this is a huge issue statewide. I don't know if we can fix it. All the research that I have done doesn't show that the Board of Supervisors have a lot of power over that. But I can tell you that there are several pieces of legislation that are being presented in Sacramento to try to help our issue. But I don't think that there's anything that the Board of Supervisors could really do. If I had my way, what I'd do is I'd love to be able to provide people with a tax break on their property tax for helping to do that work on their property.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to say that Shasta County is #1 in fuels reduction of 58 counties. We're #1. We reduce fuel more than any other county out there. You go up Dersh Road, you'll see huge projects, massification projects. The burn on the old Moore Ranch, this last summer, summer before that, we had a lot of controlled burns this year. We passed the fire ordinance. One of the things I wanted to do when I was running is I wanted to pass a fire ordinance because this county hadn't had a fire ordinance for some time. The first time I talked to Chief O'Hare, he said, I'm already on it, we're already working on it, so we passed it last year. And again, we got a grant there for a masticator and 2 code enforcement officers for the fire ordinance. So this county, I think, is already making great strides. We still have a lot of work to do. Still a lot of fuel reduction that we can still do. But again, I'm very proud to say that we're #1 county in the entire state for fuels mitigation, fuels reduction.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Mr. Gallagher.
Sorry, Todd, can you?
Absolutely.
Just one more time.
What can Shasta County do to make our communities more fire resilient?
Yeah, I'm very proud of how SBI keeps their properties. I'm an avid outdoorsman and I spend a lot of time in the woods, and you can see the line where SBI is and where U.S. Forest Service is. The good news, folks, is that the U.S. Forest Service at the last Gin Fizz breakfast, their speaker was talking, is a U.S. Forest, he's the top guy at U.S. Forest Service, and he was talking about how they're going to begin selling more timber off the U.S. Forest Service lands, and that they partnered with SBI. That's only going to help our forests, folks, and that's where the real threat is, right? The other thing that I think could happen and should happen is that the state of California should license larger cogen plants. Right now, my understanding is that they only give you 3 megawatts, and to really make it pencil, they should be 7 to 10 megawatts, and then it would make sense to build that and use up those.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Oxley, any further comments on this?
So I live on Dersh Road, where Cal Fire worked all last summer to clean up the majority of Dersh Road, and they did an awesome job. And I can tell you, it's already starting to overgrow already. We have about 1/4 of a mile of frontage road on Dersh Road, and every year I'm out there clearing that brush off the county portion of that roadway. So to and I look at my neighbors, I would love to see the county be able to provide some kind of tax break for the families to do that work, especially if we're helping the county to keep up the roads themselves.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, so we do have a couple of big code generation projects going on up in Bernie area, Forward Mills area, and then I have a huge project that's going in between Emerson and Cottonwood. It's not quite public yet, but it's actually a way to turn forest slash or like walnut orchards, almond orchards type wood into hydrogen, into a clean burning ethanol, a jet grade ethanol, low carbon fuel. There was another project that was going to turn it into hydrogen that was going to be in Red Bluff. They had a contract that got slashed.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Mr. Gallagher. I'm good with the comments. Thank you. It is now time for our closing statements. This is 90 seconds, and we will begin with you, Mr. Oxley.
I want to thank you, Todd, and the Chamber for putting this on this evening. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I'm a huge believer in God. God is a huge part of my life. I don't throw that down anybody's. If you want to believe in God, you believe in God. Our founding fathers taught us what we needed to do to continue to prosper as a country. John Adams stated that the Constitution is only good for a moral and a religious people. George Washington stated that the morality and religion are the pillars of political prosperity. But we don't promote God anymore. So we talk about crime in the street, we talk about homelessness, we talk about broken families. What could we do as Board of Supervisors? Well, we could start by setting an example and putting our motto in the chambers. And so when school children come by to see what Board of Supervisors do, maybe they would see the word God, maybe that's the first time they ever see it. Our founding fathers were very astute people. You're not going to go to see a doctor or see a mechanic for your medical concerns. We need to start looking back at our founding fathers and what they did and what they taught on how to save this country. We've got a lot of problems here, but I do believe that they're solvable, and it will come through the collaboration of all of us working together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Oxley. Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, I would like to continue doing some of the work that I've started. I've already got, like I said, we've got a fire ordinance, we've got term limits, I've brought you a lot of things, we've turned over a lot of great positions. We have a new CEO, new county council. We have promoted from a new public health officer, we promoted from within a new public works director, as well as a resource manager, and a director of health and human services. So we've made a lot of changes for the better, in my opinion. I would like to continue those. I have resource management. One of the things they do now is it used to be if you wanted to pull a permit to say you rebuild a garage, but you had a garden shed that was out of compliance, you couldn't get your permit for the garage until the garden shed was in compliance. I'm happy to say that that is no longer the case. If you want to pull a permit or something out of compliance, they'll notify it's out of compliance. If it doesn't directly affect the project you're pulling a permit for, they give you the project. Why it took 4 years for that to happen, I don't know, but it made it much more user-friendly. We also are code enforcement is now complaint-driven, so if you have something illegal on your property, they don't catch you anymore from a satellite photo or people out in the field looking for you doing something, an illegal shed or new siding on your house without a permit. Now it's strictly, they are strictly complaint-driven. So if your neighbor turns you in, well, then you're going to get a visit from code enforcement. But if your neighbor doesn't turn you in, there's no complaint, and you have somebody living in the trailer on your property, if there's not a complaint on it, they don't go out looking for those things anymore. They just work on the actual complaints from the community.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Mr. Gallagher.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks for all of you coming tonight. Experience and integrity. I have more than double the experience of both my competitors combined. And my integrity is rooted in my faith, and my voting record proves my integrity. I recently had the opportunity to stand with my neighbors and my community down in Anderson against a project that should have never even seen the light of day. Really proud of my community, and I was very proud to stand with them. I'm not reckless in my decision-making process. I'm able to have really collaborative, productive conversations, and I always do my homework. My wife will tell you that. I always read the staff reports and do the research. I promise to continue to do that. I'm also ready to get to work on the unresolved issues in District 5. We got a lot of problems down there, and I'm ready to go to work. I'm Mike Gallagher, and I'm ready to work together with District 5 to resolve some of those problems, and I'd be honored to get your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. At this time, please give everyone a round of applause. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to have like a quick, less than 5-minute break and reset the placards up here, and we will begin the District 1 forum. Thank you. Candace.
All right, I want to sit in this seat. This is bothering me.